Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new around here, my name is Ron, and today I'm going to be showing you an update on my Rhaphidophora Tetrasperma. Okay, so 8 months ago is when I actually combined 3 plants into one pot. There were actually 2 pots. One of them had 2 plants in it and the other one had only 1 plant. But I combined 2 of them into one bigger pot to create a super bushy looking pot of Rhaphidophora Tetrasperma. But about 6 months ago, I uploaded a video on the 2 months growth progress on this plant, and in that video I mentioned that I thought the plant might have had the mosaic virus, which if you have been collecting plants for a while, you would know that the mosaic virus is basically a deadly virus that will affect your plants and there is no cure. So what happens with the mosaic virus is that once it's affected, it'll exhibit signs of like discoloration in the leaves, ranging from like different shades of green to yellow, but it will basically look like the pattern of a mosaic. And I thought that happened to this plant. Actually, you know what, I would never really know, but fast forward to about 3 months ago, I actually chopped the plant really far back. That was like my last resort. If I had chopped it back and never saw like signs of recovery, I would have basically thrown the plant out. And I don't ever want to do that to like any of my plants unless there's like no point of return. So thankfully, after chopping the plant back, I got rid of the stems that looked very sick. After that, the growth that came in, guys, is so healthy. And I will show you in just a few seconds. But I'm super excited that this plant is rising from the dead, basically. So today, I'm gonna be showing you what the plant looks like, and then I'll be taking the plant out of the pot. We'll take a look at the roots, because I think it's actually time for this plant to be repotted anyway. And then hopefully when I repot it, it'll give me even more growth. Yeah, let me show you the plant. Ta-da! Yeah, it's kind of crazy. This stem right here has so much growth on it that it's just deciding to tilt over. But as you can see, this is the pot and it's missing a leg. So I had it sitting in a saucer like this, and the rim of the saucer kind of propped it up, just like that. And it worked for the time being. But I'm kind of tired of that, so I really do need to put it in another pot. I'm gonna put it into a white nursery pot so that hopefully that will encourage more healthy growth, because I think there's more holes in the bottom of that pot to allow more air circulation in the roots. So if you recall from the last update video, it had 3 stems and each stem exhibited that weird looking sickly growth. But now 2 of those stems actually split into 2 more stems. So there is a total of, wait, I lied. So there are actually 4 stems in here. I'm getting old, I can't remember things. 2 of those stems have basically split into 2, sometimes 3. So if I count the total number of stems, there's a total of 7 stems in here. And I'm gonna have to do something about that really quickly, like put it on a moss pole or something. Maybe I'll do that today, just so that, you know, because that will quickly become very wild and unruly if I don't take care of that. Yeah, let me just show you all of those split stems because I think it's very exciting. Before I do that, let me just show you the health of every leaf on here. Well, not every leaf because there's a lot, as you can see. But basically, I'll show you, okay, so this is an original leaf right here. So when I cut it back, I made sure that, You know, the original stems would have at least 1 or 2 leaves on there. I didn't want to cut it back all the way and not leave any leaves. But at the same time, I had to make sure to cut back enough so that I got rid of all of the sickly stems, which I think I did because all the new growth on here looks very, very healthy. Basically, every single leaf that you are seeing on here is very healthy. There is a leaf on here that actually has sport variegation, and it's so cool. It is this leaf, and there's like a pretty sizable spot right there. So that's pretty cool. All of the new leaves on here do not have that discoloration. There's no like mosaic patterning going on. They're all super vibrant and green. So I'm super excited about that. I was just so scared of losing this plant because this one actually came from a local plant shop in my town. And although I bought the plant for, well, actually, one of them came from a local plant shop. The other one that had 2 plants in the pot came from Home Depot, I believe, which was a steal. You always want to make sure to find pots that have more than 1 plant or more than the other pots in the store, because that will land you a really good deal. Whoa. I just realized one of the stems in here split into 3. Okay, so here it is. This vine right here actually pushed out 3 growth points. So, well, there's actually, oh, can't even see. There's actually a 4th one right here that didn't really take off. So that one doesn't count. Here is the first shoot right there. That one already has 3 new leaves. There's the 2 and the 3rd leaf right there. And then it shot out this one right here, 2 leaves there. And then the 3rd shoot has 3 leaves. This big one right here, this, and then a new leaf right there. But yeah, if you can see, they all look very healthy. They no longer have that thick, succulent-like feeling texture. They're all like thin and supple. So those are all really, really good signs. And then on that vine, there's the incision point. So it calloused over very nicely as well. On this vine, there is a callus. Ooh, excuse me, leaf. There's a callus right there. And then it pushed out a growth right there, and then right there. And then each of those has pushed out 3 leaves. And then this one right there is so cute. It's like pushing right out of that sleeve. Sleeve? What is it called again? Busting through that sheath. Okay, moving on. So this one's pretty cool. All right, so this vine is really thick. And it pushed out really thick growth here as well. But if we look at the incision point, just like the other ones, it has calloused over nicely as well. Again, the new growth is very healthy. And then the final stem in here is the other one that has pushed out 2 new growth points. A 3rd one that didn't really take off right there in the middle. But here is, oh, there's so many leaves in here, guys. It's so hard to show you. So here's the first growth point. Not that many fenestrations. And then the second growth point has a lot of leaves. It pushed out this really weird one right here. And then this one, oh, this one is, it's kind of lopsided, but it's really cute. And then it pushed out a leaf with single fenestration, followed by a normal size looking leaf with 4 fenestrations, and then 1 more on the way. So basically, new growth all around. So that is super exciting. Poor plant, it's just, actually that could work too. But no, that is not a good look. So now we're just gonna try to carefully remove all of this old soil, which by the way, is still a pretty good mix. It's still very chunky. There's lots of perlite, orchid bark, humus, and mosquito bits. That was so satisfying. I would say that's pretty much root bound, but I hope it'll fit in this pot. What do you think? I might have to split it into 2 pots. We will see. Okay, so that basically confirms that I need a bigger potting mat. Check out all the roots on here, guys. They all look super white and healthy. Look at that butt. There is this stem here that is kind of turning yellow at the base. But from the looks of all of the growth, I hope that's not going to be a problem. First of all, the roots are actually very healthy. I'm going to try to make sure to keep that yellow part above the soil as much as I can so that it doesn't become prone to rot from moisture. But yeah, this is crazy. This is a lot of roots. I'm very happy. Usually when plants become root bound like this, when there's no room anymore for the roots to grow downwards, it'll start to grow upwards, which is bad because when you water a plant from the top down, what tends to happen is the moisture, as the water trickles down towards the bottom, the moisture will go from the top to the bottom, and that's the same way it dries. So when it dries from the top down and you have roots like this that have the tips towards the top, those tips will rot from basically dehydration. When there's no moisture at the top, the tips of the roots will become dry, they will lose their flesh, and if you don't water the plant soon enough, they will basically decay, and then when you water the plant again, because those tips are already dead, it'll create a really, really bad situation because bacteria will start to be introduced, and then basically you'll have root rot from the top down. And then when you water the plant from the top, it'll take all of those bad bacteria down into all of those really healthy roots. So that is probably one of the, if not the most underrated reason to repot your root-bound plants. I'm gonna have to manhandle some of these roots to loosen them up. That way they will fit into the new pot. And I really hope it fits because I do want to continue using my white nursery pots in all of my plants. And I don't really have a bigger pot to plant this in, so we will see. So I transitioned into my little white trash can here because my potting mat is too small. But basically, right now I'm trying to really break apart the roots on the bottom. Don't be afraid to like really get in there. When you have this many healthy roots, breaking some of them is not gonna be detrimental to the health of the plant. So it's okay if you see some roots fall off, because you wanna make sure to loosen all of that up so that you have a lot of roots that are exposed to the new soil. And you also wanna make sure that the roots that are poking upwards are now poking downwards to grow into the soil and not to continue growing upwards, because as we just saw, those roots that are growing towards the top will eventually dehydrate, and we don't want that anymore. Okay, now will this fit in here? What I think I'm gonna do is trim off some of the roots on the bottom, and because this root system looks very healthy, that will actually encourage more root growth. Ta-da! All right, so I think I'm gonna be trimming off like this much, right around here. And then that fits much better into the pot. Okay, so let me show you the soil mix that I'll be using. I'm gonna be doing something a little bit different today, because I am battling some soil mites. They're like in almost all of my plants, and I think they came from my original bag of potting mix. So in this mix, you will not find typical potting soil. Instead, I'll be using straight peat moss right here. But to that, I'll be adding all kinds of things. I'm adding a lot of worm castings, perlite, pumice, charcoal, cocoa chips, and a little bit of mosquito bits. So hopefully that takes care of the soil mite issue as well as the fungus gnat issue. So let's go ahead and give this a quick stir, and I think this is going to be enough for the pot. Crossing my fingers. Okay, so that's what the mix looks like. Smells really good. What I like to do is add a little bit of sphagnum moss to the bottom of the pot, because these pots have a lot of drainage holes in the bottom. I feel like the sphagnum moss helps to filter the soil from spilling out, but also it acts as a sponge, because sometimes I do like to bottom water my plants. So with the sphagnum moss here sitting at the bottom, when I put this in water, I feel like it helps to absorb more moisture and suck it up to the roots. So now we're just gonna put a layer in there, just a little bit, because there is a lot of roots. Okay, and I'm gonna squeeze you in there, making sure to shove those tips down. But I'm also gonna be adding a cocoa coir pole right here. And it's pretty long. I think it's like 2 feet long. So I'm gonna wrap the plant around this, and it's probably gonna reach the top already. All right, I do feel like there's a lot of air gaps in there, so what I'm gonna do is give it a very thorough watering, and hopefully the water will take the soil down into those air gaps. But before I do that, I'm gonna Velcro the stems to the moss pole. Okay, now I'm just gonna water it like crazy. Okay, so I think that did the trick, because now when I squeeze the pot here, I can hear the soil crunching. So I feel like those air gaps have been filled with soil. Ta-da! Well, that's about it for this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, please do hit the thumbs up, and if you haven't yet already, plant scribe. I have a really good feeling that this plant is going to continue to thrive, so I can't wait to see it just take over this coco coir pole and then eventually take over my whole plant room. Because this, for me now, is a very, very fast grower, especially with there being like, what did I say? 7 vines in there now. So I'm super excited for the future of this plant. Let me know if you are too. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!